Hi, my name is Clement, and this is Catch. We're both fourth-year students of the HKU-UCL LLB program. This is a 4-year course that will allow you to study 2 years in the UK and 2 years in Hong Kong. So today, we're going to be introducing the program and answering some frequently asked questions about the program. So Catch, why don't you tell us a bit about the 4-year program and what the components are?
So this is a program where, like Clement said, you study in 2 different universities and you get to graduate from after the 4 years and spending 2 years in each with a degree from both schools. It's a good opportunity to study in many jurisdictions because we studied Hong Kong, China, the EU, and the UK. So that's been very interesting.
Okay, so how about we talk about some of our highlights from both universities? And we're going to start with UCL because we spent the first 2 years of our degree there. So at UCL, there were many academic highlights. So our school has many top scholars from all over the UK, spanning all these different jurisdictions and disciplines. So our school has been particularly well known for its property law, equity and trusts, as well as public law. And something that was particularly interesting to us was Brexit, which was going on during our study in the UK. And during this time, one of the scholars actually actively participated during Brexit, and so we were learning from the scholar and learning while the litigation was going on, which was a perfect experience to learn law as a student. So in addition to some of the academic benefits, why don't you tell us more about the social life in London?
Studying in London is really great because the campus is basically your city. There are buildings scattered all around London, so once you're out of the classroom, you're already in London, and it's a good experience to really immerse yourself in that culture. Besides that, you live in halls in your first year, and it's really good meeting people from all around the world. So that was a fun experience.
Okay. So at this point, you might be wondering, what differentiates this program from a 3-year LLB program in the UK? So one of the answers to this is we have the compulsory UCL Centre for Access to Justice placement. And during this placement, it's almost like an internship. So you're allowed to do some work alongside your actual studies so you can learn how the law works in practice. So Catch, why don't you tell us a bit about your experiences on the CAJ?
During CAJ, we had a couple of options, and I chose to be a receptionist at the UCL Legal Advice Clinic. That was a cool experience because it was only my first term of law school, but I was already able to talk to people and help out. Although I couldn't provide legal advice, it was a very insightful experience to see how these legal clinics work and how you can contribute after your degree to people who are less fortunate and who need help and legal advice.
So I'll talk a bit about my own experience at the CAJ as well. So while Catch did some reception work, I did something different. I was participating in some public legal education. And during this time, I was responsible for researching human rights law, producing some seminar materials, and then going to schools all over London to deliver these seminars. And our target audience were mainly Year 8 students, and there were some Year 12 students. And our job was to educate them about human rights and get them to start thinking about how these rights work in their society. And by doing this, we can allow the people who are less privileged than we are, who perhaps don't know what the law is, to be able to understand how the system works and where to get help when they need it. So I thought this was a very meaningful experience to me because I never thought that human rights would be something that was so obscure and so alien to the rest of the world. So this allowed me to see things from a different perspective. And of course, along the way, I developed some research skills and I was able to deepen my knowledge of the law.
So now that we've talked about what the experience was like at UCL, why don't we talk about HKU and what we think of that? So you could start.
Okay, so we've been at HKU this is the 2nd year, so we've been here for a year and a little bit. During this time, we've been able to experience the student life of HKU, and in particular, I want to highlight some of the academics at HKU. So the academics are from all over the world again, like UCL, and many of these academics are at the top of their field, especially in Hong Kong society. These are practitioners who are very well known, and you might see them in the news. And learning from them is a whole world of an experience because you get to learn about their practical skills, how they think, and how they approach a case, which is very helpful. So in addition to this, we also have certain components in our course which will make us better lawyers in the future, hopefully. So one of these components is a dissertation. And in this dissertation, which is unique for this program, so for example, we have a compulsory dissertation in which we can try to compare EU, UK, Hong Kong, and Chinese law if we so wish. And this is a component which allows us to do whatever we want with the law we've studied and to try to take things into a new direction and to explore things we haven't done before. So in addition to this, we also have a legal clinic at HKU, much like the one we have at UCL. So again, Catch, why don't you tell us a bit about the legal clinic?
We're really lucky in this course because we get to have a clinical legal education as part of both UCL and HKU, and it's part of our credits. So in HKU, it's a bit different. You have more choices. One is the general clinical legal education stream, where you can help the legal advice clinic at HKU. But there are also options to help out in refugee rights or disability rights. And what I did was I worked at a refugee clinic and I was able to do policy work for them. This was really interesting because it wasn't directly related to helping clients, and it was a new experience that I hadn't done before, by looking at the law in Hong Kong on refugee rights and see how it can be improved, the problems that it has, and how we can better help people systematically rather than on a case-by-case basis. I think it was a good decision, and mainly because of the diversity you get by joining this course. You get diversity in the jurisdictions you learn about, you get diversity in the teaching methods, and also the people you meet. So because you're in two schools and you can immerse yourself into the cultures of both schools, more than just an exchange, you are properly part of this community. And it's been an eye-opening experience, and it's really helpful in being able to compare both the Hong Kong law and the UK law. And I think it just gives us a more holistic education in general.
Okay, I completely agree with what Catch said. I have to add that this is not only an exchange. An exchange will usually be 1 semester or 1 year, but this dual degree will offer you the experience to study at 2 universities for 2 years each. And I have to emphasize that 2 years is a good amount of time because you can invest enough to be able to join societies, and if you so wish to, you can take some leadership positions. So for example, I was the president of Life Ethics Society at UCL, and Catch was also a member of
I was part of the UCL Public Affairs and Social Service Society at UCL.
Yes, exactly. And we have to emphasize that this could not have happened if we were only there for 1 year. And some of the other things which I couldn't have done in 1 year was be a research assistant at the Faculty of Laws at UCL, and we also wouldn't have been able to participate in the legal clinic for an extended period of time if we were only there for 1 year. So all in this together, we think that this dual degree is an excellent choice, and we encourage you to apply.
Now that we've explained what the course is, why it's a good choice for you, maybe you're wondering how you apply. So Clem, what is the application process for that?
So the application is easy. You apply to either HKU or UCL for this program, but not both. So if you choose to apply through UCL, then you have to apply through UCAS, and the UCAS code is M103. And as with all of your other UCAS options, you'll need to put in a personal statement, and you also need to do the LNAT test, which is required by many universities in the UK. If you choose to apply through HKU, you need to put in also a short personal statement, and there might be interviews in the process as well. So which school you apply to depends on what your preference is, and also which school's application process you think will suit you better. So now you might be wondering, what's the best way to apply, and what tips do we have for you? So Catch is an expert at this, and she'll tell you a little bit.
Well, first thing you need to find out are the grade requirements. And UCL and HKU use their own grade requirements, so they differ. So you have to check on both websites for what you need to get into both schools. To increase your chances, you need a good personal statement, and you need to be specific about why you want to do law and what skills you have, and maybe even why this course in particular over a general law course. However, you do have to keep in mind that on UCAS, which is the platform for applications in the UK, you send one personal statement to all your universities. So you have to find the right balance between between explaining why you want this course, but also having a chance to get into your other schools.
And if you're applying through HKU, you obviously need to write a tailored personal statement for this program, and we encourage you to be as specific as possible, and use some of the experiences we mentioned earlier to do some research of your own. See what interests you, whether it's the UCL Center for Access to Justice, or whether it's the opportunity to work in different jurisdictions. So be as specific as you can and be very interesting, because there's going to be a lot of applicants and you need to distinguish yourself.
So Clem, are there any other advantages to doing this course?
So one advantage I can think of is there's no need to do conversion exams for this program. The reason is many overseas students, especially from the UK and from Australia, in order to work in Hong Kong, they need to do a conversion exam to get admission into the PCLL. And this is not only annoying, but also it comes with many difficulties of having to study in your own time. But because of this course, we have a degree from HKU that's awarded directly, so this means we don't have to do the conversion exams. Instead, we'll be doing all of the compulsory modules during our regular term time, so there's no additional need for extra study.
So because we get a degree from both universities, we are able to apply to and qualify in both jurisdictions, or either one if you just want to do one, without having to do anything else extra, which is very convenient, and it gives you a lot more options than if you just do one degree. Yeah.
So to keep adding on to what Kat is saying, this allows for flexibility, which is very valuable, because some people don't actually know where they want to work ahead of time. So instead of deciding you want to work in the UK before you start your law degree, you can now decide towards the end of your degree, so you have the flexibility of choosing later on.
You do have to bear in mind, if you do choose this course, that visas may be an issue, and just because you have a degree from both jurisdictions and both countries, it does not mean that you can work there if you don't have the relevant visa requirements. So I think that's an important consideration before you sign up for this course, that perhaps if you do go to the UK and you end up liking it and want to study there, if you come back and you don't have a British passport, you might not be able to go work there anymore because you will lose your visa and might not be able to get someone to sponsor you.
So we've told you a little bit about our experiences at both UCL and HKU and about the application process for this program. So we understand that there are many other questions that have gone unanswered, and in order to address this, we also have a link on the faculty website which will direct you to a platform where we can answer your questions. So if you're interested, can you please leave a question on the site and we'll answer as soon as possible. So thank you for joining us today, and we've had a good time.
Good luck with your applications!